Happy Friday. May the 4th is over, and now it's what? Revenge of the 5th? I'm starting to lose track, man. There's so many days and National Dog Days, Pug Day, Raccoon Day. May the 4th be with you. I usually do a lot more for May the 4th, but a lot of the guys that we hired, like we usually hire a lightsaber duelist company, and they come out and they do a fight throughout the plaza, but they weren't available this year. And I asked them back in February. Did some Star Wars stuff today at the store. That's about it. Free comic book day is this Friday. Who knows? Yeah, tomorrow. Tomorrow it is Friday. Is this Saturday? And I'm still kind of demoralized that I don't have the full spread that I usually have because of the transition from one group to another. But I got some stuff. And we got a whole bunch of cool new stuff that I hadn't carried before that I've been meaning to carry before. A lot of Boom Studio stuff is hitting our shelves, and I'm gonna actually do a small stream over the weekend of some of the brand new stuff. It's gonna be called "Late to the Party" because everybody else, I mean, people have been telling me something's killing the children, something's killing the children. You got to read that. You got to read that. You love Black Label. You got to be reading that. And I'm like, I don't have time, and so finally this weekend, I'm going to dive in. I got the trade paperbacks that cover the whole series, and I got all the new issues. And I'm going to dive into that and do a not a stream, but like a really quick, synopsis of what I think, and maybe get some brand new people in on it. So, all right, let's go ahead and say hi to the chat. Oh, by the way, this is the Midnight Express. This is our super short presentation just to break up the monotony of the day. Usually lasts anywhere between a half hour to 45 minutes, unless somebody snags me on a topic that I consider to be irresistible. Usually that's rock, heavy metal, or wrestling, or serial killers. Could be serial killers. It's been serial killers, or food, and how we need to breed pineapple out of existence. Things like that. All right, I can see Aaron is here. Hi, Aaron from the land down under. What's going on, Jim? How you doing, man? Hi, Rhea, Glimmering Harpy. I can't wait to see you in person and stuff you full of Sister Kim's greasy food. Yeah, I didn't know you stayed up this late, Jim. Damn. I'm usually seeing you in the afternoon doing the video game stuff. Or on Matt's channel. Yes, make sure you like and subscribe to the Point Extra Lounge, which you are watching right now if you came in through the old ways. And then the new ways, which is my channel, the youtube.com// there you go. And like I said, I'm gonna have a timer and a ticker because my guesstimation is that at age 78 I will reach 1,000 followers. So you'll get to see me age all the way through, and then the timer will finally hit like I think 2048, I think, or something like that is what I'm due to hit. All right, yes, sub. How you doing, ghostly visitor? I love that name. How are you doing? Nice to meet you. All right, Guardians of the Galaxy got me in the field. I was supposed to go see that tonight, but I just didn't come together. I am debating on whether to see it tomorrow or Sunday. One of those 2 days. Guardians of the Galaxy got me right in the field. I can't say any more about than that. If you saw it. Yeah, I sent a bunch of people, ironically, with free posters and stuff. By the way, last night to go see it, and then like I said, my schedule with everything, I just couldn't go. So I really need to relax. I'm thinking about Friday nights. I usually stay at the center pretty late, and since we got free comic day, the very next day I want to get the store ready. So I most likely will go see it Sunday night. I plan on attending this year. I have attended them before. They're super expensive though. The only um the only reason I really want to go this year is the same reason I wanted to go last year and I can't go is to get William Shatner's autograph. That's it. He's 92 years old. I'm running out of time, I think, so I think I need to get down there and see him. There was like 10 people in the park and they're dueling. You should have hired them. Yeah, there are some people that are out there that are really good at it, but the UNLV, which is the University of Nevada, Las Vegas here, they have a class, they have a legitimate college course that is for um These I forgot of the Order of Duelists, something the lightsaber duelist, Sacred Order of Lightsaber Duelists, SOLD, and we've hired them a few times, and then like I said, this year they were just super busy, so we weren't able to get it done this year. Plus, like I said, I had a whole bunch of other stuff going on. I had the Star Wars section open, so I had people coming through there. But yeah, it's just especially with it falling on a Thursday. I know last year it was on like a Tuesday or Wednesday, but a couple of years ago when it fell on like a Saturday, it was perfect because we could close down the whole plaza because we weren't disrupting so many businesses. Yeah, I've heard good things about it. I've heard things about it, good things about it. I haven't heard any bad things about it. I heard people say it's emotional. Don't tell me why it's emotional. I hope nobody dies, but if someone does die in a comic book movie, it's not real. So, let's see. Everybody's saying hi. Food, serial killers, and paranormal conspiracies. I'm not as versed in paranormal conspiracies as I am in food and serial killers. Um, because to me, I don't believe that they're conspiracies. I believe all the paranormal stuff is real. I'm the one guy that you don't have to ever prove that paranormal is real. Simply because I just don't. I just too much evidence that it is. Just like UFOs are real. I'm pretty sure if a UFO can get here from wherever he or they are at, they have the means to blend in our society, to cloak themselves. And look at us. We're a planet full of morons for the most part. It would be the lowest level intelligent alien out there is probably a scholar here on planet Earth. So they're probably amongst us now. They're probably flying up there. I mean, they're probably doing all kinds. They're probably literally blended into society, and we would never know it because we just don't have the means to detect them. So, so no, I don't conspiracy. Nah, I believe it's outright true. All right, I was in tears doing the whole movie. So, ah, like I said, I heard a lot of people say, that I know that some of the rocket stuff in the scenes that I've seen, like some of the stuff that he's released online, the one where they're, him and his friends. I'm pretty sure, that's gonna test some people's heartstrings. NLR football. What is NLR football, Viking King? Probably something I should know, being a fan. Super sorry to just. Yeah, we're gonna live stream you eating Sister Kim's. I'm gonna slip some ghost peppers in there. No, I'm just kidding. You got to read the Star Wars by Dark Horse. Great art, and it's George's original. Jeff. I mean, I mentioned it before. I guess Propius did today. All right, Spider Man. What in particular are you talking about? Because I know I'm a big fan of the Knights of the Old Republic, like the Freedom Nat Uprising, the Knights of the Old Republic, the Sith War. Those, those things, the Jedi Redemption. Are we talking about this Timothy Zahn stuff and the Tom Vetch stuff that was released by Dark Horse in the mid '90s? Because if we are, we're on the same page. Because I think that's some of the best Star Wars, that was put out. And Exar Kun, all that kind of stuff that was part of the expanded universe, but then they wiped out most of it when the sequel movies came out. So yeah, if we're talking about the same stuff, then I like I said, and the artwork on the covers of those Dark Horse ones, even the Dark Empire, it's all painted. It's all painted stuff, and it looks great, especially for the mid '90s when in that era, getting people to paint covers is really expensive. Tipping Broncos tonight against the Manly Sea Eagles. Okay, Manly Sea Eagles. Wow, that sounds intense just by the name. Man, you guys were growing. You guys were crying at it, huh? I saw God because the Gals there today. Great emotional beats, action, and comedic timing. And tomorrow, tipping my team, Canberra Raiders. Hood for free comic book day and May the 4th. How you doing, Alabaster? 6531. Want to stop by and say howdy everyone in the chat. Hey, Hey, Jim. How are you doing, man? Long time. Like I said, I see you all the time. We operate on the same network, but we never see each other because your stuff is early in the day, and obviously I'm a night owl. So nice to see you. Paranormal Truth. I mean, yeah, I'll discuss it. I think we are beyond the. To me, we're beyond the question of whether they exist or not. I just can't believe that if we can come up with the technology we can come up with, that we're the only ones out there, and that somebody else just all you have to do is believe that there's a civilization that just got a head start on us. And it's going to be the same way. Someday we are going to visit other civilizations that we are thousands of years ahead of. We're gonna visit them in our spaceships, and they're just going to be creating fire and things like that. And we're going to think that they're low tech Cro-Mags, but they just evolved later than we are. So I have to believe that there are other beings throughout the galaxy that have the means to travel throughout the galaxy that have reached the point that we have years and decades and probably possibly more than likely centuries earlier than we ever did. So to me it's not even it's a no brainer. Have you seen of Robert Meyer Burnett's thoughts on the Flash? He's really impressed, and a lot of what he has to say in terms of canon both intrigues and perplexes me. I okay, so knowing a lot of what probably is going on, um, I'm gonna go with my original advice to just eh, all involved take a step back, take a seat, and see how much money and how much influence the Flash wields, and let capitalism answer your questions. We'll have by the weekend of June 16th, we'll have an answer of whether we need where we need to go, and how far we need to go, and if something needs to be continued or if something needs to be separated or segregated and continued versus transitioning. We'll have a lot of our answers then. I did see his review, and one of the bones I did have, with the notion of he compared it to Zack Snyder's movies, and even though he liked Man of Steel, he said Man of Steel was a joyless movie and The Flash had joy. I have a major problem with that, and he's not the only one to have brought that up. We come into things like Superman and Batman with preconceived notions based on the things that we see and we know. If you hadn't been introduced to Superman and Batman decades and decades and decades ago and other versions of these characters, and Zack Snyder was the very first person to present it to you, you wouldn't have anything to compare that. You wouldn't know what joy was. You wouldn't have you wouldn't be able to tell someone what a superhero movie should be because he would be making the first one. If Zack Snyder or anybody else writing a story meant for there to be joy in that in that part of the story, then that's fine. But I only want the things in the story that the storyteller meant for there to be. And Zack Snyder clearly did not mean for Superman to be a happy-go-lucky story at that point. Now, had he had an opportunity to finish, we maybe could have gotten a story arc that basically showed Superman in a different light because he would have completed his arc. But I think we all make the mistake, and a lot of people make the mistake, and I respect the hell out of Robert Meyer Burnett. But I, people come into these things with the finished product of a character in their head, and they want to hold on to that instead of letting the storyteller tell his or her story. We want to tell that story for them. We want to impose our version of what we think these characters in these stories um, should be when we're not the one writing or directing. And that's just the long and short of it. Everybody who has sailed Zack Snyder's A Man of Steel had some version of Superman in their head other than the one that he was telling. They wanted to hold him, the person who was hired, the professional, to their story in their head instead of the story that was in his head. And he's the one who's being paid to do this. We're spectators. And I think we kneecap ourselves when we behave this way. And that's just my opinion. So, but the only reason I'm bringing that up is because he made the comparisons to there was comparisons made to Snyder stuff because there's so many connections to this. And so, like I said, I heard the connection, and I heard it more than once, and it kind of annoyed me. But hey, everybody's got their own thing. All right, guys, I don't feel like going to an emotional roller coaster. Damn it! Oh, rugby. Okay, okay. So that's not football. No, I'm just kidding. I know you guys all over the place are you guys call it's rugby, soccer, and all that is football for you guys, but we got the NFL over here. So, but yeah, rugby's pretty violent, man. Bleeding all over the place. I see people kicking the shins and stuff out of people. No, it's George's original Jeff. Are you talking? So you're just talking about the Star Wars adaptation that they did for Dark Horse? Okay, I'll try some Go Pressers. I eat straight up pickled jalapenos just for the flavor. Yeah, you're psycho, man. I ate a bowl of Rice Krispies this morning. Does that make me a serial killer? Wow, Toronto, buddy. You're killing me. I love UFO Cryptotype. Oh, and cult talk too. I don't know, man. Some of the cult stuff does scare me, like the Heaven's Gate people. Remember those guys? Hail Bob Comet. They were chasing that, and they all committed suicide to join with the Comet. And then we have Jim Jones. Well, we all cult. Ugh, yeah, some of that stuff. Manson, Freddie. Since it's May the 4th or 5th now, a friend of mine decided to hold a movie watch of the original cut for A New Hope. They were showing it around the nation, and they were also showing the I think it was the 40th anniversary of Empire Strikes Back, not Empire Strikes Back, but Return of the Jedi. Ben Skywalker, Anderson. Oh, so you're talking about the draft? Okay, gotcha. Darth Vader as General. I've seen, and that's the one with the original pictures, and he has all the he's got the different helmet with the hoses and pipes coming from it. Okay. I think I heard of that, but I don't have that. So Guardians of the Galaxy Star Wars Day Writer Strike update. Studios moving forward during the strike, and Gunn turning in a Superman Legacy script. Yeah, you turned that in last week. Um, Studios moving forward on stuff that pretty much is, I think, further enough down the line. I still haven't gotten clarifications on what exactly can people do with scripts. If they can just go ahead and go forward without any issues, or even if there's no legal issues, do they want to be going forward? Do some of these people want to show solidarity to their union people? I was hoping when I came on the air tonight that these things would be, solved. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, the amount of money they're estimating up to $9 or $10 billion could be lost during this strike, which is unfortunate. Unfortunate, because you're talking, you don't get that money back, you don't get that time back, you don't get that momentum back. So studios moving forward, yeah. Like I said, James Gunn has turned in a script, but once again, I don't know if he's going to act on it. I mean, I don't know if any of these guys, when they say going forward, what does that mean? Because once again, actors have to come in and read these scripts. Can you have script readings? I don't know. It's a tough one. That would have been some of the last years that Dark Horse had the IP. I have to check that out. Guardian 3 was great. It felt like the end of an era. Gunn did a great job. I'm still skeptical about Superman Legacy. Fair enough. I've also been interested in the old expanded universe more recently. I want to look in their chronological order. All right, I'll ask her. Then start with You could go with you can go with chronological order, but I don't think it hurts you if you go in this order. Um, Knights of the Old Republic, Freedom Net Uprising, Tales of the Jedi, Knights of the Old Republic, Tales of the Jedi, Dark Lords of the Sith, Tales of the Jedi, Sith War, Tales of the Jedi, Redemption, and then you can go with the outlying storylines that still help you understand and are important. Golden Age of the Sith, and there's a couple other ones around there, but in those are the main books in that order that you can go along with. And there's some books, like you said, you get to learn a lot about the alchemist and the species that bonded with the Dark Jedi to become what the Sith would be later on in Star Trek lore. The My Adventures with Superman animated series for Adult Swim seems fun. Yeah, I saw some R-rated stuff going on with that. All right, man. Do I need to find a timeline chart for that? It's not included in the Dave Nolan cartoon. It's a tie-in media because it's despite airing the same time as EU, it still contradicts the story. I would just say go get the graphic. When I talk to you about EU, to me, expanding universe is the comic books, because some of the video games and stuff came afterwards, like Tales of the Jedi, the Sith War, all that stuff that you see in the video games all originated from the stories that were told in the comic book. So the timeline I gave you is right around then. The Knights of the Old Republic storyline that I'm referred to is 4,000 years before the Battle of Yavin. So whenever you look at a timeline, it's going to say Battle of Yavin, and because that's where Episode 4 starts. So when you see 4,000 years, so Knights of the Old Republic, Pre-Nat, all those things start 4,000 years before Luke, Leia, Han, all that stuff. So they're way removed. There's not a Skywalker mentioned there. There are certain planets and stuff like that, and systems and species that you will be very familiar with, but that goes with the universe. So yes, so am I. So am I. Oh, you're at work. Okay. If the rumors are true, Gunn is also doing casting calls for Supergirl. That does. What does that mean for Sasha Calle? Once again, um, it depends on what happens to her in this movie narratively. Which even if let's say for instance, I don't know anything, but they kill her in this movie. It doesn't matter. There's so many alternate universes. That Supergirl could exist in some form in another universe anyway. But let's say they don't, and the Flash comes out, people connect with that character and they want more. If he's got his thing, he's got his thing. But retail wise, money making wise, I'm going to try to make as much off of all my assets before I move on. I don't see any good business reason to toss aside Sasha Calle's Supergirl if there's still money to be made off of it. And I don't give a damn about confusion and all that stuff. Once again, if your audience is confused, there's two possibilities. Your audience is a bunch of dummies, or your storyteller is an idiot. I don't think either are the case. So if they wanted to make it work, they could. If there's money there, like I said, I think we forget that these studios are in business to make a profit. So if they determine that there's money in going forward with Sasha Calle, I don't see why that's where your Elseworlds comes in. And people are so quick to dismiss Elseworlds because they look, once again, they think everybody's a dummy and can't follow multiple universes and story. And then they'll do that whole they're competing with themselves. That's even dumber, actually. Give your audience credit for not being a bunch of idiots. Give your paying public a little bit more credit for not being complete stooges, incapable of absorbing something new. And give your storytellers a little bit more credit for not, for having the imagination to deliver something like that. Everybody wants to sit and say what can't be done. Most of the people who sit and say what can't be done are nowhere near as talented as the people who are charged to do it. So I don't see no one is giving me an educated reason why they couldn't go forward with whatever they're doing here and still go on what they're doing there. I've heard people who more than likely have never had to sell something to someone as far as imagination wise and script wise and things like that. They're sitting and they're telling the rest of the audience that it's going to be too confusing. Let the audience judge that on their own, right? I think the audience is a little smarter. Like I said, audience and fandoms may do stupid things, but that doesn't mean they're stupid across the board. Some of the stuff that they absorbed with Marvel, alone tells you that they can handle a little bit of confusion and still keep going. So I think as far as what it means for Sasha Kai, it depends on what the money says. If the Flash is $1 billion blockbuster, that whatever the situation going into the Flash will change or be adjusted to whatever the Flash brings to the box office. I think Man of Steel was a great introduction to the character, but a MS2 would be great for an additional character development and just direction of Clark's search for the purpose of finding his place. Yeah, and that's basically what Snyder would have eventually done. Would have done, and we would have been through it already, but we just didn't get that. William Wright killed at full circle. She asked thoughtful questions. Did you see Rebecca Johnson parts? You should interview her. No, I did not. I'm still catching up on all the full circle stuff. I haven't even watched film. I haven't even watched all the interviews and stuff like that. I watched I watched the BBS panel and I watched most of the Zack Snyder Justice League panel because I had to watch that from my phone. But I'm still watching Full Circle in bits and pieces. My NRR team is the Sharks. Yes, really kind of you, Spider-Man. I did see some of her stuff. I saw her pictures and all of her selfies and stuff, though. Yeah. Yeah, it was like I said. Well, the unfair thing about this is we never got to see it, and so it just sits there incomplete for all the Stooges to make fun of it and tell us what it wasn't. Well, it wasn't complete, dumbasses. You don't know where he was going because you never let him get there. All right, I'll keep an eye out for that. I'll have to get this and bring it up. I think I should already have that in the store. I was actually cheering when I saw you were on backstage. All right, the main thing I took away from Marvel Vernet's Flash review is all things live action DC are effectively canonized, though he's still pondering its place within the canon. Sounds like a really wild ride. Yeah, there are some cameos in there that are absolutely bonkers. So, yeah. I guess you could, Toronto. I just don't know. See, once you do something like that, you pretty much designate yourself as persona non grata in certain circles because this will all be over hopefully sooner than later. But once it's over, people don't forget. People don't forget stuff. You don't want to blacklist yourself. Yeah, rational. I believe there's still work to be done in Clark's journey to explore his identity and the darkness within him that could potentially lead to the Nightmare Part timeline. Yeah, and that's exactly what Zack Snyder was trying to put forth. Yeah, like I said, I these are books that were coming out right when I was first opening my store. And I really, really, really connected and loved those books. By the way, if there's no DC or Marvel Multiverse cameo, you would absolutely not want to see. If there's one DC or Marvel Universe cameo, you would absolutely not want to see what would. I never want to see Batman Beyond in um in the DC as a cameo because then people will be clamoring for that, and then it'll bomb because the people who want Batman Beyond think that millions and millions and millions of people actually watched it when very few people actually saw it. And I, like I said, that's the kind of cameo right there that I wouldn't want to see. Marvel, I don't know. Marvel's giving me a bunch of cameos I didn't care about, so I don't know. As far as absolutely not wanting to see, well, I already saw the one I didn't want to see, and that was Howard the Duck at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay, now that would be up there near the top of absurd. Yeah. I might also ask Faith some EU recommendations. Yeah, we should be on tomorrow night or later on tonight during our Star Trek shows. All right, so jealous of you. Oh, with that weekend, yeah, there's a bunch of people I was jealous about, man. I mean, I'm not jealous and like hate, but Joe. I mean, I wish I could have been out. I wish I could have been somewhere relaxing instead of working. Jeez. Yeah, I just woke up and that's all I have to say. Okay, go back to sleep. Seeing the second flash air up on the big screen tonight was dope. JR caught his review. I think he's fair to say that the tonal shift aligns more with Barry's character, but the featured actors I'm wondering will be thrown off by the scenes of Supergirl and Zod. Yeah, Dawn of the Jedi is them possibly going over the origins of the Force. How you doing, Daniel? Some people are for that. Some people are against that because some people think that the Force should just stay mysterious. But who knows? Like last time we explored the Force, we got midichlorians. That was kind of lame. So jump road's going on. Now that there's officially a writer strike, do you think WBB will release the air cut? No, I no, I don't. I mean, like I said, I if if they were going to, it all depends on what goes on in the next couple of years. I think you release the air cut as an accent piece to Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 or 3 or whatever giant wrap up you do to that storyline. Because to me, the only reason those movies were even introduced was to introduce two main characters that would play a part in that particular storyline. Absent that storyline, I don't know if there's any business reasons to do the air cut. It's got to be more than people just wanting to see it. When we pushed for Zack Snyder's Justice League, it was more than just wanting to see us. They were looking for to make money off of us, and I don't know if you can make any money off the air cut than you've already made off of the original one that already did well. I feel like Gunn and WBD made decisions too quick before seeing how the Flash. Yes, I've been saying this the whole time. And Aquaman 2 would do if the Flash is high successful. That means they're still interested in current DCU. Yeah, and I said this before. I think that the people who were there prior, Abney and DeLuca, should have been the people that they did stock in took stock in what they had, basically did an inventory of what they had, what they could work with, follow all those lines to whatever potential you think they could make, and then hire somebody in after you resolve that, or hire somebody in with the explicit purposes of resolving it and going forward. What they did is they hired a guy and just gave him everything. And I don't think that was a good idea. I don't think that's fair to that person. All right, back. Before you started with anything to do with your journey going forward, you have all the weight of unresolved decision making from a previous regime, and that decreases your chances for success. So yeah, I think they should have done a lot. I think they should have wrapped things up and then started new. But they got caught up in the wave of that magical word, that word that makes people who are probably not as smart as they would like to think themselves seem smarter. Everybody just throw around the reboot word. Look, I'm a scholar. I know what I'm talking about. Let's reboot this, reboot that. Hey, come, can I join your conversation? I can bring up the same stupid words that you can. Can I be a part of this? That's what happens with reboot. It's like a wave, and it just envelops everything. So everybody wanted to, had reboot on their lips, but nobody. You can always tell that people don't know what the hell they're talking about when it comes to rebooting because they never bring up the negative ramifications that could come. They never think it through. They just think of just turn the table over, and they equate new with better. New isn't always better. Different isn't always good. Sometimes you just have to use your fucking brain and figure out the mess you've made clean it up first before you start building things on that foundation. All right, because I will say this from the beginning, and I wish James Gunn all the well, but there is no going forward without dealing with what you walked into. Wrecked runways lead to crash planes. If you do not fix the runway that has been DC since 2013, all you're doing is giving me a brand new plane that someone told you was good enough to make it over all this wreckage in order for you to take flight. And you're not going to. You're going to crash. So I hope they have a better plan than what we know of so far because I'm interested in the stuff that he's put out. But I understand that the odds are against him because people are going to be skeptical, and rightfully so. Yeah, I could not get tickets. Got to meet Dave, Scott, and Steven during the meetup. I was the one that took the group photos. At least you got a chance to get down there and meet with some of our comrades. All right, was the script gun turned in the first draft or the final draft? It's the final draft. Wouldn't there still be? Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm not sure. And like I said, I was gonna try to get more clarification on what it means as far as these the rules and the laws and the unspoken word and all this kind of stuff that when it comes to writer strikes and what you can do with scripts even though they turned in before the strike started. Do you still work on them? Do you still, I mean, what kind of solidarity do you have? All right, Stranger Things have happened. MGM being bought by Amazon. HBO and Amazon created their own Lord of the Ring universe of Spider-Man content being on Amazon, Disney, and Sony. Um, so yeah, and like I said, everybody who ever told you, well, this will never happen, and you know what, the whole Netflix thing that's been going down, we've kind of steered clear of that because just bringing it up brings in a bunch of absolute dummies sometimes that want to criticize one side or the other. And to be honest with you, we months and months ago we went through the logistics of could it happen, and I came to the conclusion that it could. However unlikely it was, no one, no one who said absolutely not came up with an educated reason other than no, they heard somebody say it couldn't, and it became sometimes we become like a herd mentality where we hear a bunch of YouTubers or a bunch of people say something, we just go ahead and go along with that. But we laid out business reasons of how something that could happen. Now we also laid out the reasons why it couldn't happen, and there were a lot of those there too. But it is eventually it's going to happen where James Gunn or somebody is going to develop something that is a DC IP that they bring to the stuff suits, and the stuff suits said, you know what, this is really great, but it doesn't fit what we're doing. It doesn't line up with what we're quite here right now. But you know what? High end, maybe Academy Award winning or nominated director, instead of you going and taking this to somewhere else and just changing the name and the likenesses and making it something else, why don't we're going to let you do this, but we're going to put you in this universe. You know what? It's going to cost a lot of money that we can't justify, but you know what? We're going to green light this. You got our permission, and we are going to be the executive producers. We are going to allow you to take this to a different platform as long as you and us consult about how this goes down. Like we have final say so, but we're going to give you a lot of creative freedom. This way, that studio, that streamer, or whatever pays for it. They get their cuts, and then we give them residual. There's all kinds of back end doors, and people are saying, well, it's not going to go on streaming because streamers are losing money and all this. I'm starting to realize who the stupid people are that are around me when I hear some of the things that are said about streaming. When streaming first began, no matter what the streamer was, they put in an exorbitant amount of money that they knew they were going to have to scale back on. It's called startup fees. Anybody who's ever ran a business, you have startup fees. You spend money. A lot of you guys that start businesses and you hire a bunch of people until you see how the business goes and you cut down on those people. So if you hire 30 people for your staff, when once you see the numbers come in, you realize you only need 14, you cut some. These are natural adjustments that a business makes, and it's no different from streaming. And so when people say, "Well, never end up on streaming," did you see what's happening in the streaming world? They're all cutting back. You're trying to address, approach the streamers in general with a blanket mentality. There are thousands of things in production, thousands of things being in consideration that have different criteria, from one to the other. Things are still being greenlit for everything that gets cut on the streamers. New things are still coming up. Netflix is not at a loss for content. Neither is Amazon. None of these guys are. So there are still things being greenlit, and so you could theoretically have a situation to where a high. I always throw out Steven Spielberg because that's the biggest name I can think of. Steven Spielberg wants to do Legion of Superheroes. He wants to connect it to his own Superman or his own Superboy. I'm just throwing that out there. All right, Steven Spielberg comes to Zaslav and says, "This is what I want to do." And Zaslav's like, "Ooh, this is fun. I don't want you to leave. I want you to stay here because I know if you get up and leave this table, you're going to go sit down at another streamer's table or another studio's table, and I lose you." So rather than do that, it doesn't line up with what this guy James Gunn, I got, or whoever's there at the time. We got our thing going on here with our Prime universe, but your storyline sounds great. Now Zaslav can either say, "Hey, you know what? This needs to be. We need to do this. We need to make room for Steven Spielberg. We need to make room for all the fans that are of that ilk that are going to flock to see his stuff." Now what they can do is they can do it on their own thing, their own source thing within their own platform. Or if it's going to cost 200 million or something like that, and Amazon, who can shake that out of their sock, wants to do it, then you negotiate. And that's another thing I never heard during the whole let's make fun of everybody who even brings up the Netflix idea. I never heard the word negotiate. I never heard the word limited licensing. They threw around terms that all they did was sit in front of a YouTube screen and repeat exactly what that YouTuber said. And in most cases, that YouTuber really didn't even put that much thought into it. So yeah, stranger things have happened. Yeah, you're 100% right. Negotiations happen all the time. I don't expect us fans to comprehend negotiations that go on at that level. We're not there. So, but what we can do is not be dumb enough to say never or that's not going to happen or nothing like that based on the things that we don't know. We're not in those offices. Stay mid 90s. That's my day. I think Clark Arcs goes from being seen as a Man of Steel to becoming Superman. Exactly. When it comes to superheroes, I would limit that because I think most of these superheroes people are at where they're at with their origins. Well, I'm glad you contribute to the event. You are an awesome leader in the community. We appreciate you. We appreciate you too, Rhea. I mean, I consider you one of those leaders as well. I consider you a unifying forces because you go where you want to go and you associate with who you want to associate. And you and I both know some of the, there are these divisions all over this community that don't need to be there, and you don't see those divisions. And I think that's a good, helpful thing. And we need more Reyes. We need more of you. I am ready, I guess. Not as ready as I've been the last 5 or 6 years because, like I said, I got a comparatively minuscule amount of comics to give out this year, and I'm kind of bummed out about that. But I am ready. I am ready. It's still going to be our highest traffic day of the year. It's still going to be the most fun I have on a daily, on a one per day basis. So I am ready in that respect. I don't know what the hot books are because I didn't get most of them. Like I said, my pre comic day we usually run out at around 2 or 3 because we get like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. But this year it's probably going to be like the first couple of hours, or they're going to get me and be gone. How you doing, Clinton? I see you in here. I saw Clinton in here. Oh, Clinton, right. Pretty fly, the glimmering harpy, same, but I've been more active on Twitter since the event. I finally got to see your pretty face. Daniel Martin William, you did awesome with your stream for Final Circle event, Full Circle event. For the Final Circle event, it's been pretty surreal to see people like yourself, ACS Rhea, and a lot of people internet with regularly be involved. Yeah, it's weird to see us all on the same screen because I've been on the screen, obviously with Red, but I've been on the screen with ACS on his channel. It's the first time we had him over here as me as a host. A lot of these guys have been on Poindexter Lounge throughout the years with Enosh, but it was their first time. This is the first major event that I know of that we've done that didn't, that included, me as a host. So that was kind of cool. It was surreal. It was surreal because, like I said, it was just weird. We live parallel and adjacent to each other as far as online goes, but we don't always get a chance to be on each other's stream. All right, yeah. And I'm going to probably wrap it up here pretty soon because I'm at 50 minutes. Hot take, William. I'm not 100% convinced Momoa will sell as many tickets to women as you said. There doesn't seem to be much romance appeal to any women in their 30s and up range. That Yeah, but man, those milfs, and those 30 to 48-year-old women and beyond are still they're still there. They're very powerful, and they go see it multiple times. And they might take their kids with them, and that's more money. I don't know, man. He's a milf magnet for a reason. The DCU lasted 10 years. In 10 years, we barely got Darkseid. We didn't even get Superman fighting his rogue galleries. No, we didn't. We didn't get Brainiac. We didn't get anything. Momoa's physical traits are really my motivation to see the film. I just want to see more of the characters we know, but that's just me. Yeah, Ray, but business is business. If his pecs can make more money than his soliloquies, you know what's going to happen. No, I don't. Actually, I was one of the first people in Southern Nevada when they were experimenting with cable modem. When we went from the 512 and all that stuff, it went up to our 56K to 512. It was 56K to 512. 512 was the fastest you could go in 1999, and we were the first people in our blocks to get it. And I got it, and I'm like, wow, dude. And then it was up until 2002, 2003. People were still using dial-up. Nah, that phone ringing was my dad actually. So he wanted to talk, but they always call me. They know I keep weird hours, but the last couple of streams, my mom's called me, my sister's called me, my dad's called me. They know they gotta know I'm on air. I mean, they don't watch the show, but all right. Ooh, wow, there's a lot in the chat. No landline. No landline. It's cable modem. It's like not only is it cable modem, it's like the fastest speed you can get. Whatever the fastest that you can get on broadband, I can or high speed, I get it. Yeah, it doesn't always behave. All right, guys. Let's see. William, to be fair, there's more nuance and compromise in the continuation discussion, but it's stigmatized by the perception against it. There's a fair criticism of valid concessions for the plausibility. Yeah, there's a conversation to be had both ways. It's just that it breaks down almost immediately into nonsense. Somebody who wants to see continuation and resolution is assailed. And the people who want to see resolution, I've always advocated don't respond to these people. Don't respond to the clowns who put, you in there, that just want to poke you and get on there and just get inside your conversations just to be antagonist. If you want to believe in anything and you're not hurting anybody, everyone else should leave you the hell alone. If you want to believe that someday you're going to wake up and Netflix is going to say, you know what, damn it, we're going to pay, we're going to do this. If you want to believe that, no matter what evidence there is or isn't to support it, if you want to do that, if you're not hurting anybody, I have more of a problem with the people who are messing with you than anybody else, to be honest with you. I mean, you chose to include those people in your day. You chose to target them. So, I mean, but there could be a conversation about whether if you didn't like Snyder's work, that's one thing. That's subjective. That's opinion. But to me, it's not even about that. And I think people get caught up in the Snyderism of it and not putting the spotlight on the disorganization and the mismanagement of the whole thing. it wouldn't have mattered who was doing those characters. You already had people entrenched that were going to be against any new Superman or Batman that wasn't their Christian Bale or Christopher Reeve or their childhood teddy bear Superman. You automatically were going to have them. Zach just happened to be the guy that took on the task. But the core of the problem is mismanagement, and that fungus has spread to the fandom in certain cases. But whether you like Snyder stuff or not, it was never about whether you liked his content. It was about was it being delivered under a corporate structure that could give it its best shot, and that answer has always been no. So let's see. Rational, if I come to Sci-Fi Center, can I get a discount on comics and merchandise? Sure, I do that all the time. Daniel, ironic because they're my only option for the internet provider where I'm at. I hardline everything and I have multiple routers. I have Wi-Fi and I have hardline. I have it both, but it doesn't matter. Let's see. Make me. All right. Let's see. Trying to sneeze, but it won't come out. So much complicated fandom of the company that literally started the multiverse. No reason everybody can't be happy. And once again, it goes back to the disorganization. It is embedded in the DNA of your company that you be able to handle things like this because you created it, and they can't. The problem with DC and some of its fandom and some of the people who try to corrupt DC is they can't take off their Marvel goggles long enough to see DC for what it needs to be. DC will never be Marvel, and Marvel will never be DC, and they never should be each other. I want to keep them as far away from each other as possible. They have distinct pillars of their storytelling that should be respected and kept apart and approached differently. And the first person who is able to do that and stand behind the person that does that, that person's going to be a success. Let's see, we're talking about internet service. The Gilbert Harvey Cat 5 cables between two cans. Yeah, basically. Yeah, if the thing about it is like this came about so quickly. By the time they announced this and the dates, I was already locked into everything I was doing here, and there was only going to be one day that I was able to go, and that was going to be on the Sunday. I would have had to fly out on Sunday, and I would have had to fly out Sunday night back to Vegas. I wouldn't have been able to go to all three events simply because I was already locked and loaded here. So, would they do another one? Then hopefully, there's a little bit more notice and there's a little bit more, advance. Hopefully, they do it in a much larger place too, so that there's more tickets and all that. So, hopefully, yeah. I plan on doing my own thing out here in Vegas too. I don't obviously I'm not going to get Zack Snyder out here, but we can definitely raise some money and we can definitely have a lot of fun. Yeah, yeah, he's in a lot of James Gunn's movies. Lloyd Kaufman, who by the way, shameless plug, will be here in Vegas at the Sci-Fi Center. We're flying him in. Uh, he's flying him in next week. He'll be landing in Vegas. We will be getting him ready for Tromania. But yeah, Lloyd Kaufman was where James Gunn started with Troma. So there's a connection there. Let's see. All right, you guys are talking about cable motive now. All right, well that's it. That's it. That's it. 58 minutes. That's more than adequate quit for a midnight express. All right, guys, I got a long day tomorrow, and there's a good chance that you will see me for our Star Trek stream. If we can get everything together, and if I feel up to it, but I may or may not be with you tomorrow, simply because tomorrow is the last full day before Free Comic Day, and I want to get the store 100%. So you may not see me online tomorrow, depending on where I'm at, and how I feel, how comfortable I feel with having everything ready. So, all right, guys, I will see you at the very latest. I will see you during our overnighter. All right, get some sleep, get some food, and I will see you on the other side.